We thank our presenting sponsor, Bank of America, for its continued partnership with the Suffolk County Vanderbilt Museum. Bank of America is a major supporter of more than 2,000 cultural organizations across the country and is committed to supporting local partners like the Vanderbilt to ensure that neighborhoods remain strong and vibrant. Bank of America's support allows us to bring these intriguing pieces of Vanderbilt family history to you and your family in the comfort of your home through Moments in History. Although not often thought of together, the Vanderbilt family has a long and patriotic history of military service throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. Whether in the US or abroad, the Vanderbilts did not shy away from their duties to their country, and instead worked to protect it with both their assets and their very lives. One of the first moments of Vanderbilt family involvement in American military history came about during the War of 1812. 2 years into the Second War between the United States and Great Britain, things had started to turn against the American armed forces. The US had been pushed out of Canada, and the newly constructed Washington, D.C. had been burned by the British. Many feared that New York City, an important hub of commerce and political power, was next to be attacked and thus had to be protected at all costs. Forts were immediately constructed around the city and neighboring Long Island to ensure its defense. However, these new strategic positions had to be properly supplied and manned. The military needed someone to carry supplies to the forts, and turned to an up-and-comer to the local shipping industry who, though only 18 at the time, had already earned a reputation for a strong work ethic and great business sense. That man was none other than Cornelius Vanderbilt, and it was because of this event that the Vanderbilt fortune was able to be made. As the 1850s came to a close and Civil War crept ever closer, the Vanderbilts again found themselves involved with the American military. Cornelius Vanderbilt was now the head of a shipping empire, and his ship, the Old Star of the West, commissioned to move troops and supplies to vital Fort Sumter. His youngest son, George Washington Vanderbilt, had just graduated from West Point and showed promise as an officer. When war broke out in 1861, both men leapt into action in their own way. The Commodore offered his ships for sale to the Union Navy. Though his offer was rejected, George, meanwhile, served as a lieutenant in the Union Army. In 1861, the Confederate ironclad ship Merrimac broke through the Union blockade at Hampton Roads. In response, President Abraham Lincoln met with Cornelius Vanderbilt to find a solution. Cornelius offered his 300-foot-long steamship, the Vanderbilt, to the Union as a gift, and even outfitted it at his own expense in his New York dockyards. Though the two ironclad steamers never directly battled, the presence of the Vanderbilt was enough to ensure the blockade would not be broken again. The efforts granted Cornelius a Congressional Gold Medal in 1864. Unfortunately, George was not so fortunate. In 1863, he developed tuberculosis and would later pass away in Nice, France, after being discharged from the military to recover. Like too many others, the Vanderbilts lost a family member for the Union cause. The Great War drew in people from all walks of life, and the Vanderbilts were no exception. Though Cornelius had long since passed, his descendants picked up the torch of military service. Two of his grandchildren, Frederick and William K., used their finances to help the war effort. Frederick leased his yacht, the Vedette, to the U.S. Navy, where it was used to save sailors from sunken ships. William K. helped to fund the Lafayette Escadrille, a French flight squadron made up of American volunteers. His great-grandchildren took more direct action in the war. William K. Vanderbilt II and his brother Harold were both members of the Naval Reserve. At the outset of the war, our Mr. Vanderbilt used his ship, the Tarantula II, to patrol the U.S. coast. His service awarded him a World War I Victory Medal and a New York Victory Medal. Cornelius Vanderbilt III, meanwhile, fought in the European theater and achieved the rank of Brigadier General. The women of the Vanderbilt family, though kept from active military service, also participated in the war effort. Many Vanderbilts, including the elder William's wife Anne, joined the Red Cross and provided aid wherever they could. Consuelo, our Mr. Vanderbilt's elder sister, used her position as the Duchess of Marlborough to help in England. She pushed to help women enter the depleted workforce through the Women's Emergency Corps, chaired the American Women's Relief Fund, and provided her London townhouse, Sunderland House, for the British government to use in any capacity to help with the war effort. The fortunes of the Vanderbilt family had been in decline over the intervening 2 decades, But this did not stop William K. Vanderbilt II and other members of his family from providing for the United States during World War II. William, for his part, gifted his luxury yacht the Elva to the U.S. Navy for use as a patrol boat. Renamed the USS Plymouth, it guarded the U.S. coastline until it was sunk off the coast of North Carolina in 1943. Consuelo Vanderbilt, now married to World War I veteran pilot Jacques Belson, fled France at the outset of German occupation and worked in America to help the war effort through the American Women's Voluntary Service. Meanwhile, her husband went to England to work with the Free French Resistance Forces. For her efforts in the war, Consuelo was given an officer rank in the Legion of Honor. Whether on the sidelines or in the thick of battle, the Vanderbilts have a long and proud history of military contribution.